Good afternoon. We'll go ahead and call the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners regular meeting on February 3rd at 2 p.m. to order. I'd like to welcome everyone here. Thanks for the flexibility. We wanted to make sure we adjusted this meeting based on the weather that we were having. So at this time, I will ask for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance from Commissioner Tyson.
Thank you. If you're able, please stand. Dear gracious and heavenly Father, we praise and thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to come and to represent the people of Cumberland County. We thank you for your safety during this recent storm and that our county was spared any major issues with that. Pray that you would be with us as we go throughout this meeting today. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. At this time, before we get started with the regular meeting, I wanted to call on County Manager Greer to a quick update from emergency management based on the recent weather activity.
Yes. Good afternoon, Chairman Devier and fellow commissioners. Gary Crumpler, Emergency Services Director, is going to give us an update of what happened over this past weekend with the snow and the storm.
Have you caught up on your sleep yet, Director Crumpler?
I'm working on it. With a 2-year-old at home, it's kind of hard.
And there's a bingo card for how many times you say dry pocket or dry, whatever the term was.
As you mentioned, Chairman, good morning, Commissioners, Chairman.
Good afternoon.
Hope y'all had a pretty uneventful weather event at your own personal residences and properties. So just as the Chairman stated, I think it's only fitting to start with this first slide. I think dry pocket, dry area was the term as we waited for the precip from the west and the east of us to do its thing. So it led into that precip going into late overnight, early morning. As far as the actions taken during this last event, EM took a significant amount of actions along with other county departments. Most of all, communication of information with our partners, with our staff, as well as our disaster readiness team who are responsible or that first line of defense for making important decisions as it regards to county's operations. We also did move some logistical assets to pre-position just in case things got worse. We filled a number of resource requests from our local partners as well as the hospital system, and we got them squared away with that. We did activate the Emergency Operations Center at the partial activation level with essential partners that were required for the ongoing actions that we were taking. The county did provide transportation coordination to our partner shelters, and we opened the non-emergency line for citizens to call in to ask questions in conjunction with the Public Information Office. And we did continue coordination and outreach with our community partners throughout the event. Here are a list of some of our internal departments that supported the event. We had numerous internal and external department support. If I left anybody off of this list, please don't charge it to my heart, charge it to my mind, as they always say. Throughout the event, our communications lifeline stayed green. Our 911 center remained fully operational throughout the duration of the event. We had 26 specific hazards reported by first responders, and we upstaffed throughout the duration of the event. Our energy lifeline remained green throughout the duration of the event. We maintained contact with our partners at PwC as well as the other energy co-ops that service Cumberland County. No widespread power outages were reported. As far as food, hydration, and shelter, again, that lifeline remained green. Salvation Army, our county partner shelter, as well as Cornerstone, sheltered our citizens with county support throughout the duration of the incident. We provided 4 individual transport to partner shelters. Again, this does not count the previous event. This is only the event that happened over the last 2 or 3 days. We had no hazardous materials incidents reported, no major hazardous materials incidents reported. And our partners at the hospital continue to provide ambulance service to the citizens of Cumberland County, noting that they were also dealing with the passing of their Associate Medical Director, Dr. Biswas. Our partners at Fayetteville PD provided operational support and safety and security for our shelters this go around, as well as the Westover shelter that we opened the last incident. The Cumberland County Sheriff's Office provided operational support as well as safety and security for the Emergency Operations Center throughout both events, and the fire departments upstaffed and provided service throughout both events. Our transportation lifeline is yellow. That will probably turn green at some point today. We continue to see impacts from the ice in low-lying areas, especially areas that are shaded and covered with tree or has a lot of tree cover. The DOT was out early this morning trying to apply additional salt as well as scrape any additional impacted areas. As with any water system or any water system that we have, if you have temperatures below freezing, you can expect some water main breaks. PwC and all of our other water co-ops have been online and on top of that stuff. As far as the upcoming weather, we are expecting some upcoming weather that could bring both freezing rain and snow. Rain before 1 a.m., then a chance of rain, snow and then freezing rain between 1 and 4 a.m., and then a chance of snow after 4 a.m. So this is going to be Wednesday into Thursday. Lows around 28, and always remember this type of system often does not hold up very well. We call it cold chasing moisture. So unlike this past system that we had where the both were kind of present, which produced a greater amount of snow, we won't have that with this. So that's why we have a chance of freezing rain and some sleet in there as well, possible. As you can see by this graph, a significant amount of rain will precede any wintry precip that occurs. And as always, a huge thanks to all of our partners. We couldn't do this without your support and collaboration. And a point of personal privilege, I'd like to thank Diane and her team at PIO. I don't think they ever sleep. They do a phenomenal job of pushing all the messaging that we have in the Emergency Operations Center, as well as county management and their support throughout the duration of the event, and commissioners as well. We stayed pretty close and locked at the hip, I believe. So I'll take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Director Crumpler. And before I open it up for questions, just want to make a note. Vice Chairman Jones is attending the meeting. I should have pointed that out at the beginning. She is online virtually and remote. This time, Commissioners, any comments or questions for Director Crumpler? Commissioner Tyson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Crumpler, I just wanted to say thank you to you and your staff. Y'all did a great job of keeping the board informed and updated as to what was going on and passing that information to the general public. So appreciate what you and your team do. I know a lot of it goes without a lot of thanks sometimes, and it's a lot of late nights and early mornings, but just wanted to say we appreciate what you and your team do, and thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioners, anyone else? Okay, again, thank you for the update, and definitely appreciate all the work. County Manager Greer, you and senior team. Go ahead, County Manager Greer.
I would just like to thank Gary and all the Assistant County Manager, Diane, and all the staff that worked through this storm. And then I would like to also apologize for the 7 a.m. Sunday meeting. Thank you.
Yeah, that one was rough.
Again, thanks Director Crumpler, for all your work, all the emergency management team work, and the staffs. Did a great job of communicating out to the public, but more importantly, just seeing the community partners really work together. It was timely in the last week that we were able to add shelter capacity, so that was very positive, and the continued work that your team's doing on the ground during the events was important, as well as all the staff and community partners across the county, and just the elected officials cross-talking. I know at the management level they were cross-talking, and that's how these things are supposed to work. So we made it through this one, so to speak. I want to knock on wood and be careful what I say, because we never know what's going to be coming down the pipe. But just want to thank you for the work that you and your team did, and appreciate the update today, and let us know how what we're going to see in the future from the weather coming back to us.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and move to the approval of the agenda. County Manager Greer, are there any additions to the agenda?
Yes, Chairman Devier, there's one addition to the agenda. I'd like to add item 3B, consideration of amendments to Section 5-9 of the Emergency Management Ordinance.
Add that as item B.
Yes.
Commissioners, any other additions to the agenda? Hearing none. Vice Chairman Jones, are you there to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Yes, I am. I'd like to move to approve the agenda with the amendment to 3 being that of to add the emergency amendment as stated by County Manager Greer.
Second.
We've got a motion to approve the agenda with the additional item B of item of business for amendment to the county ordinance. It's been properly seconded. Any discussion or comments on the motion? Hearing none, I'm going to ask for your voice vote as the vice chair is online. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Unanimous.
And we'll go ahead and move to item 2, the consent agenda. Are there any items or any changes to the consent agenda, commissioners or staff? Hearing none, Vice Chairman Jones, I'd entertain a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to approve the consent agenda.
We've got a motion to approve the consent agenda. It's been seconded. Any discussion or comments on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask for your voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Unanimous.
We'll go ahead and move to item 3, items of business. A, consideration of FY27 Board of Commissioners State Legislative Agenda. County Manager Greer.
Yes, I'll turn this one over to Faith Phillips, Assistant County Manager, to present and answer any questions you have. On February 5th, we will host a meeting of the state delegation. We wanted to make sure our agenda items and our priorities of the board were effectively communicated to them. Faith, I turn over to her.
Thank you, County Manager Greer. Good afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
This afternoon, I'm here to present for your consideration a draft 2026 fiscal year 2027 state legislative agenda. The draft agenda is presented in advance of the Board of County Commissioners meeting with members of Cumberland County State Legislative Delegation. Approved agenda items will be crafted into a resolution that can be brought back for the board's approval and adoption at a later date. Before briefly presenting the legislative agenda items, I'd like to highlight how the legislative agenda is developed. While maintaining primary focus on local initiatives and governance, the board actively monitors statewide legislation that impacts our community, particularly in areas such as infrastructure, environmental needs, mental health services, healthcare access, public safety, workforce housing, and education. Input is provided to our local legislative delegation through the legislative agenda approved by the board and the corresponding adopted resolution. The draft state legislative agenda in your packet is taken from the Board of Commissioners 2025 through 2028 strategic plan and the key priorities and initiatives within. Many of the goals are continued from the board's approved 2025 or fiscal year 2026 legislative agenda. Additionally, each year, department heads submit any state legislative priorities they have, which are reviewed for inclusion. Feedback for this year's state agenda also comes from the Board of Commissioners Strategic Planning Retreat and updates provided by the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. Finally, advocacy points in the agenda are separated into two categories: local funding requests and local policy objectives. First, local funding requests. Addressing public water infrastructure to ensure access to safe and regulated water for our communities is a key board priority. The legislative agenda focus on funding from either the State Capital Infrastructure Fund, from the Division of Water Infrastructure, or other areas of DEQ to provide for infrastructure projects centered around ensuring capacity, infrastructure, and regional collaboration to address contaminated wells and ensure access to safe and regulated water. Requests in this strategic area include seeking $50 million for public water and sewer infrastructure to address safe, reliable drinking water, $5 million for Grays Creek District Phase 3 engineering reports, and $5 million for engineering reports regarding securing permanent capacity to address contaminated wells. Supporting a high-performing education system remains a top legislative funding priority for the board in this draft agenda. Advocacy requests include $15 million in direct state appropriation to address critical school infrastructure needs. As a note, the board has $300 million planned in the county's debt model planning tool to assist in Cumberland County Schools' $806 million deferred maintenance needs. Education funding requests also include $15 million in investment in a new state-of-the-art E.E. Smith High School. In the strategic priority of enhancing health and wellness, a priority for funding remains $4 million to expand comprehensive mental health and substance use treatment services for youth, providing individual counseling, case management, crisis intervention, family support, and school-based programs delivered by licensed professionals. Next page. There we go. Okay. The board's commitment to increased culture and recreation opportunities and ensuring a safe community is highlighted in three requests. $2 million in funding for a regional aquatic center, which has a current match funding amount from the county of $2 million. And $2 million in funds are requested towards the Emergency Services Mobile Incident Command Unit, which has a $994,593 appropriated in the fiscal year 26 House Commerce, Justice, Science Appropriations Bill. This request was sponsored by Congressman Rouser. Additional funds are needed to purchase this regional unit. Finally, $500,000 in digital dispatch equipment to support the combined County 911 Communications Center. This equipment would be for the Cumberland County Fire Chiefs Association for station equipment. Transitioning to local policy objectives, new policy advocacy requests from our Department of Social Services this fiscal year are under the strategic goal of enhancing health and wellness. These objectives are related to the administration of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, and Medicaid programs under House Resolution 1. House Resolution 1, or the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, overhauls the administration of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, or commonly known as food stamps, and in North Carolina called Food and Nutritional Assistance Services. Beginning October 1st of 2026, federal administrative funding to North Carolina will decrease from 50% to 25%. Currently, the state does not share in the cost of administration. Therefore, it is anticipated that the county share to administer the SNAP program to eligible citizens will increase from 50% to 75%, resulting in a projected annualized increase of a significant amount of money. Additionally, for the first time in the history of SNAP, the states will be required to share in benefit cost based on statewide payment error rates. North Carolina will be required to pay 15% of the benefit base, which is projected to be upward of $22 million annualized cost for Cumberland County beginning October 1 of 2028. Therefore, a proposed policy objective is that the state of North Carolina assume the 25% increase in the administrative share to support the administration of SNAP. Additionally, to improve payment error rates by enhancing or replacing NC Fast technology system to support accurate and timely eligibility determinations, maintain current and integrated policy manuals, and provide extensive training, learning, and technical assistance in an efficient and effective manner. Additionally, House Resolution 1 restrictions on Medicaid financing shift costs to the state, which jeopardizes the future of Medicaid expansion. Medicaid administrative functions, such as increasing eligibility renewal requirements to every 6 months and changes in eligibility determinations, result in increased workload demands, which is an unfunded mandated cost to the county. Enhancing or replacing NC Fast would additionally assist in improving county responsible errors in the Medicaid program. Another policy objective added from the previous year falls under the strategic category of fostering economic prosperity. This objective seeks to preserve the local property tax authority to ensure that the county can meet growing service demands. Property tax is the primary and most stable revenue source counties have to fund state-mandated essential services such as safety, public health, education, infrastructure, and social services. To support our education system, the draft legislative agenda brings forward the fiscal year 25 priority of supporting Cumberland County Board of Education's legislative priority of adjusting the formula for supplemental state funds for teacher compensation. Policy objectives centered around quality, smart development, and infrastructure include continued support for the proposed I-685 route to be through Fayetteville and Cumberland County, as well as support for the expansion of passenger rail connectivity, specifically with connecting routes from Fayetteville to Raleigh and Fayetteville to Wilmington. Finally, a policy objective is the implementation of Verena's Law, or House Bill 307, which was signed into law on October of 2025. This law eliminates cashless bail for certain violent offenses, creates a new category of violent offenses, requiring secured bond, GPS monitoring or house arrest, and mandates mental health evaluations in specific cases. Thank you for your consideration of the proposed state legislative agenda.
Commissioners, questions, and remember, so we're going, the plan for this is Assistant County Manager Phillips laid out, is that we're receiving this today, we'll meet with our state delegation, gather input from them, discussions with them, and then we'll finalize this and bring this back for final approval, and then present it to them in a resolution before they go back into, if they have a short session, or before they actually go back and start doing work again this spring. So that's the process we'll go through, just to make sure everybody knows we've got time to add things, move stuff, but more importantly, have a discussion with our state delegation on things that are here. Now, I'll open it up for questions at this time. Commissioner Tyson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd first like to thank the staff for putting this together and having this draft. I think this is a good starting point for us to have some discussions with our leadership at the state level. Mr. Chairman, if you'll remember, last year we had had a joint meeting with our school board where we had discussed facility and infrastructure investment needs over there. As part of that process, we came out in our budgeting process and made some priorities, and those priorities came with, a strict list of requests of our school board. As we're looking through that, we know that our school board's been working through their consolidation plan, as has been referred to them by the study that they've commissioned, and we have yet to kind of have that back. But we know that in that study, there was some conclusions that were made that the school board has not gave their answer to us on, specifically around the new school construction. And so what I would suggest is that specifically on the investment for the state-of-the-art school, I don't want to presuppose the school board's decision and get in front of them that it's going to be a particular school. I would just ask that funding be asked for any school that the school board would recommend for new school construction.
Okay, I think we can look to have those discussion points. We'll make that note as we begin to finalize this for further board discussion and approval.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Patel, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And to the staff, thank you. I have a question, and I know policy is still shifting both in Raleigh and DC. Do you, while we're getting into our budget cycle, do we understand what could be the potential of the figure-wise, what the unfunded mandates that the county might have to bear in a worst-case scenario?
For a particular program or collectively?
For our entire operations?
We would have to come calculate up, because right now we're looking at correct me if I'm wrong, Tafana, but about $2.8 million hit for SNAP and Medicaid programs out of DSS. So collectively, the impact on other programs, we just haven't measured that because it's not been as defined through the big, beautiful bill.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, just a little concern with the $22 million impact to our operations. So.
And I think during the strategic plan, we were briefed in a couple scenarios on that dollar impact when we start. And I know we'll look at that in our budget workshop when we do that in February, to identify what those items are. I know I'm sure it's still adjusting some, but that was at least a snapshot. So there is a lot of downward pressure there. Commissioner Patel, anything else?
No, sir. Thank you.
Vice Chairman Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My comment and statement is no, we don't want to get ahead of the school board, but the school board has made it clear, and certainly the community has, especially the minority community. So in reference to E.E. Smith, I would like to keep that in there. I don't know if it needs to be stated, E.E. Smith and other schools of consideration. That is, let's just keep the elephant in the room, a very sensitive topic in this community. And I want to make sure we stay focused, although the school board is taking the lead on that. Whatever verbiage we as I guess commissioners can agree to, especially during Black History Month. E. Smith is a historical Black school, and it's a very hot topic. Although the Cumberland County's the school board is taking the lead on that, and we're doing partnership, I want to make sure that the community, as they've made it very known, especially the minority community, that is on their radar, and those can be sensitive things. So I request that, I don't know if the verbiage has to be that of E. Smith and all other schools of consideration, but I don't want this community, as especially minority community, to think, because words and verbiage is everything, has power, that's not still a concern for ours. So I request that, yes, intentionally, E. Smith and that name of that school be left in there so that this community, and especially those in the minority community on Murchison Road, are aware that we are in support of whatever direction that the school board has, but that does note, as the school board has made it known itself, that is still a top priority, E. Smith. And with that being said, I request that the name E. Smith, whatever other verbiage you got to put in there for other schools, remains. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chairwoman. And I believe it's the intent. We will show it as is. This is how it went in last year to our state delegation. And then after we have a conversation with them, we'll meet back as a board and deliberate any language changes or anything like that based on comments from commissioners. So anything else, Vice Chairwoman?
No, that'll be all. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Faircloth, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If past years is any indication, I expect to hear from the delegation that, number one, the list is too long, and that we'll need to think about paring the list down quite a bit to maybe just 4 or 5 items. So probably as individual commissioners, we need to be thinking about how we're going to do that after we talk to them. And then once we pare that list down, they'll want us to prioritize what's left in the list. And that's typically what we hear from them. So just keep that in mind as we move ahead to that meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Faircloth. Any other comments? Assistant County Manager Phillips, one piece that we talked about in the strategic planning, I think it may be important to get on for our state delegation, is, and it's not a dollar well, it is kind of a dollar ask, but it's more under the policy side, but looking at the funding for Medicaid expansion
Yes, sir.
based on HR 1 or House Resolution 1. It's going to shift some of those costs to the state, and we need to make sure that those costs don't get shifted to the county, and especially when it comes to the eligibility renewals and that workload challenge that's going to present us. I know we were briefed on that during the strategic plan. I'm looking at my other assistant county managers, and they're shaking their heads. But I think it's important if we could add that in. It's a policy piece, board, if that's okay. Medicaid's front and center, and I think we have some dollars around that. And just as we begin to talk with our delegation, it's going to be important that we paint and have a conversation around the downward pressure of the costs that we are seeing, whether it's $22 million, the cost for our arenas law, the cost on Medicaid expansion, the SNAP cost. There's a series of, I hate using the word, but unfunded mandates that are going to get pushed down from the feds through the state or from the state down to us. And as we go into our budget cycle, we're going to have to clearly understand those because we're going to have to plan for worst case scenario, I believe. I'm sure that's what our manager will request of us. So if we could, somewhere in the local policy board, if you're okay with this one addition, I know we're not trying to add a lot, but I think so it would be advocacy that the state of North Carolina fund the continuation of Medicaid expansion, and then add in some of the language around the renewal requirements, the increase around the eligibility and the workload challenges that we'll have, the additional cost to do that. Board, is that okay? Is there consensus around, or anybody have any issues with adding that? I think it's an important one to add, especially on the policy side. It's not a dollar ask. All right. Anything else? We don't need to approve this, so we can just accept it, correct, County Manager? Or do you want to go ahead? We don't need to approve it this time. We're just accepting it in preparation.
I would accept it for right now. And after we meet with the state delegation, if, like Commissioner Kalapa said, if we have to pare it down, we'll bring that, pare it down, or to adjust it based on our meeting with them on Thursday.
Okay, so no action needed for the board. We'll make that one change. We'll present it to the state delegation and then bring it back for final approval. Board, any questions on that? Okay, we'll go ahead and move. Thank you, Assistant County Manager Phillips and County Manager Greer. We'll go ahead and move to item B, amendment to section 5-9 of the County Emergency Management Ordinance.
Yes, I'll turn this one over to Rick Moorfield, County Attorney. Rick.
Vice Chairwoman Jones and gentlemen, what you have before you is just section 5-9, the proclamation, the way that the proclamation is made of the state of emergency and the prohibitions and restrictions that are authorized. The adoption resolution to which that's attached explains the reason for doing this. And it was just pointing out that we just had 2 consecutive weekends of 2 serious winter storms that just ended at midday today. The second declaration of emergency. And the uncertainty in the forecast models, these events resulted in a very short time for the county to ready its emergency management resources. And provisions in the currently in the emergency management ordinance actually require board action to declare a state of emergency, and it was kind of tough to put together in the last two events. And so the suggestion is that we go back to the approach that we had before the ordinance was amended in March of 2020. Which was during COVID, and there was a different environment then. But in any event, if you just look at the three pages, it's front and back on the first page, and then that is all the entirety of section 5-9. Everything that's in red font is language to be stricken. Everything that's in blue font is the new language. And the intent of this is to vest the authority to declare an emergency in the chair without the necessity of calling a meeting of the board, which is the way it was before March of 2020. I'd be glad to answer any questions. Yeah, that's right, Chris, correct.
Commissioners, questions for Attorney Moorfield? Commissioner Tyson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Attorney, for putting this together, and I do think that this is a needed change that we need to look at for our rules of procedure. One question I had, and maybe I was wrong, I understood that the board would still be provided a copy of the proclamation in advance of it being executed. I didn't see it in the document, and that the board would still approve the proclamation at its next regularly scheduled meeting.
That was not in the old ordinance, but I can add those back if you'd like. There's nothing to prohibit the chair from calling a board meeting, and typically that has always been done. It's just this wasn't these last two events were instances where it proved very difficult.
And then one more comment, Mr. Chairman. The other question related around Section D, and it relates to in the event that the chair or the vice chair of the board cannot be reached.
Right.
And then it talks about the county manager being granted the powers in the interim until a meeting is held.
Correct.
But the chair or the vice chair would be the only one that, in that circumstance, that could call the meeting, emergency meeting. Is that not correct?
3 commissioners can always call a meeting.
3 commissioners can? Okay.
Or,
All right,
or it may be a majority. I'll have to look that up. I think it's just 3, but it may take 4 for a 7-member board. And a little explanation for that. The only time something like that comes into play is not a forecast weather event. It's something like an explosion, a hazardous chemical spill, an instance where something deadly happens very quickly, and there is just not enough time to wait.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioners, any other questions? Commissioner Faircloth, you're recognized.
Just a comment. Mr. Attorney, correct me if I'm wrong, but typically the county would not, in the event of a large occurrence, there would usually be a state declaration first.
Typically,
And
yes.
the county would just, what would be the county's purpose for even calling the state of emergency in the event that the state is under a state of emergency? Does that bring some money possibly?
Yeah, it has a serious financial impact on the county.
That's what I needed to know.
We are not, we become eligible once if the state goes under a state of emergency for a lot of federal assistance, or at least in the past it was there. Yeah. But if we don't do a declaration of emergency for our county and to activate, we're following the emergency management overall orders. This is just one section of it. We have to do this to activate the emergency operations center and all the things that go with that. And that's what's necessary over time. There's for staff. There's a lot of aspects of this that require us to have put this in place.
Thank you so much for explaining that.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments?
And let me point out, you brought up a good point, Commissioner Faircloth. That's also an example of why subsection D is needed in this, because we may have an incident that is only in northern Cumberland County, and that's nowhere else in the state, and that would be the type of thing that's a plant explosion or chemical spill, stuff of that nature. Right. And occasionally, we all know they occasionally happen.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments or things you want to add or things you want to request? Commissioner Tyson, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just ask the county manager for his feedback and comments. We haven't heard from him yet before proceeding with this item.
County Manager Greer, you're recognized.
Yes, no concerns. If we were, I guess, just to let everyone know that, reaffirm that if the chairman or the vice chairwoman couldn't be present, I would initially contact all the remaining commissioners and make sure that we I got approval before we even instituted a meeting or anything like that. So I have no concerns about any of the changes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments? Okay, at this time, I will entertain a motion. Vice Chairman Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to approve the proposed state legislative agenda for the February 5th, 2020.
Vice Chairman Jones, we're the amendment to the county ordinance.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, if I clarify, the proper way to do that would be to adopt the resolution to which it is attached. The motion would be simple, adopt that resolution of adoption of amendments to Section 5 and 9 of the Cumberland County Emergency Management Ordinance.
So that motion, I would entertain a motion that we would adopt the resolution of the amendment to Section 5-9 of the Cumberland County Emergency Management Ordinance. Vice Chairman Jones, you want to make that motion?
Yes, I move that we will adopt the county manager's, let me repeat that again. I motion to move that we will adopt the county ordinance resolution as stated by the county attorney for the on this date of 2026.
Is there a second? We've got a second. We've got a motion to approve the resolution of the adoption of the amendments to Section 5-9 of the Cumberland County Emergency Management Ordinance and properly seconded. Any discussion or comments on the motion? Commissioner Tyson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just clarifying question, would that be with the proposed changes that we had mentioned with the board receiving an advance copy by email or whatnot?
If
And
that's
then
the wish of the board, yeah, I'd need direction from the board on that.
So that's why I asked if we wanted to add that in. So Vice Chairman Jones, if you can withdraw your motion, and then we'll open back up for discussion to identify what we want to add in.
I withdraw my motion at this time so we can discuss, and then if another motion is moved, I will have that done by another commissioner at that time after we discuss.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Jones. I'm going to go ahead and open back up the discussion on the item. County attorney, based on a recommendation from one of the commissioners, where would that fit in so that the board can determine whether we want to add that in?
Yeah, that's why I need direction on. Commissioner Tyson, there were two things that you wanted added, correct?
Commissioner Tyson, you're recognized.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, sir. Just that the board would receive a copy of the proclamation and that it would be on the agenda at the next regularly scheduled meeting for approval.
Did you just say for approval? It has to be a legal document at the time. I mean, when the declaration is made by the chair, it has to be a legal document then. And that, to say that the board would have to approve it later would probably be an issue.
County Manager, County Attorney Moorfield, so question. So if it's adopted, if there's an action taken by me at the next meeting, we can send a copy, but at the next meeting, the board can take any action they want.
Yes, they can take. Yeah.
So you can reverse it, you can change it, you can do anything. What you see traditionally that the state legislature put in place is they have the council of state now confirm any, and so there's some law put around that because of, I think, what the situation during COVID. But this board would be at its next regularly scheduled meeting. We can take any action we want. You could rescind the whole thing if you wanted to with the majority of the board. So if it's okay, we can make sure we have the language. If it's acceptable, the language would be the board would receive a copy, within reasonable time, whatever that reasonable time is, electronically or whatever, after that declaration is made, and then the board can take any action at any meeting we want. Is that Fair enough.
And thank you, Mr. Chairman. That was exactly what my thought was the council estate model with the confirmation. So that's what I was
They have a little
suggesting.
different statutory system than we do, though.
Right.
And you know, that's, and remember, the reason for this is to comply with federal regulations. And so we don't want to defer from the statutory authority we granted. I'll add, I'll just go back and look at the copy we sent as soon as possible to all board members in an appropriate section, and point that out the next time. Rather than, well, I mean, you want me to take the time, look for it right now, just add that one change, would be that all board members will be issued. I'm trying to find the area, the section in here where it says.
While you're looking, Commissioner Faircloth, you're recognized.
Okay, to clarify, what we're saying now is, rather than have the board come back and ratify what the chairman did, which is defeats the whole purpose of even doing this to start with, we'll just receive a copy of the resolution, or whatever we call it, declaration, and be done with it, right? There'll be no action necessary after that. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay.
And my point was that the majority of the board can take action at any time we are convened as a board.
But it's not going to be in the
Correct.
policy to
Correct.
do it?
Correct.
Okay.
Commissioner Tyson, you okay with that?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Vice Chairman Jones, did you have any questions?
Thank you,
You're
Mr. Chairman.
recognized.
Yes, no. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to make sure I'm clear on this. I think that Mr. Commissioner Fairclough probably beat me to it. But in regards to legal-wise, some of it, if needed, it will be included, and that can be done by email. We can receive it by that. Is that yes or no? But the information being provided, if we don't meet as a board together, that it can still be legally if we send it through email, or is that only, I think that's where it kind of confused me. Is that, as they can do that, state legislators, Rick, are you saying we cannot do that county-wise? Like, they're allowed to receive things electronically, this, another, and it's still made legal, like saying in the event that we can't get together. Are you saying that we, within the law, can or cannot? That's where I don't want to be confused or confuse the public.
Vice Chairman, we can add the language suggested that a copy be, as soon as possible, sent to all the board members. We can do that. I think it's in a different section of the ordinance. That's what that I'd have to add. I've got to pull it up. That's why it's taking so long. But
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. That's the part I wanted to make sure I didn't miss it.
Right.
You're going to see if we can or cannot. And I know that there are individuals watching probably that want to be clear on that. That's what I want to be clear on. Thank you. That's all I have.
to keep this as simple as possible, I just took the section 5.9 as it was written and modified it for this purpose. The provision the other provision about the notification stuff is in a different section. And I'm having to pull that up from a big file. Hold on.
Okay. While you're doing that, Commissioner Patel, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. It was just more of a housekeeping item for it, in the case that the chair or vice chair can't be reachable. I know our county manager already communicates pretty much everything all the time to all of us, so thank you, county manager, for doing that. But in 50 years, if that's not the case, maybe we could just put the thing that some statement that the county manager will provide the whole board with an update if the chair or vice chair.
If you see each declaration, it has a paragraph that recites where it goes to the clerk and how it's just all that media. That's just in a different part. I'm just trying to find a different part.
I thought it was
the ordinance is much longer than this.
So-
Just add it there. I think
Well, I believe what the county attorney is saying is there's a separate section that speaks to how the declaration is disseminated. And so we'll just add it there. So that'll be another update to a different section of the ordinance.
It'll be the section that says a proclamation herein shall be in writing, and it's a rather lengthy thing, but I can move that into this. Is it right there? Shall be retained by the clerk and certified copies. Okay, yes, it's renumbered because it shall be first. It just says to the public, governmental agencies, officials there upon request. So I'll add, that would be it's section I. Is what it- F. Okay. It'll be added to the end of section F, because that's where it says shall be furnished to the public or governmental agencies and officials there upon request.
County Attorney, if you can just read it into the mic so we can
I'm sorry.
hear it, and Vice Chairman Jones can hear it, and everybody can hear it, just so we know what's getting added.
At the end of section F, which starts at the top of page 3, we'll add a provision that a copy of the proclamation shall be sent to each board member as soon as possible. And now we'll put that responsibility with the clerk, because she has responsibility for the distribution.
Commissioners, does that satisfy the requirement?
Yes, for me.
Then, and I'll go ahead then, and Vice Chairman Jones, I'll entertain a motion for the adoption of the resolution of adoption of amendments to Section 5-9 of the Cumberland County Emergency Management Ordinance with change addition the attorney just covered in Section F.
I make a motion to adopt the resolution with changes 5-9, if I'm correct on that, with changes as suggested by a county attorney, Rick Moorfield, for emergency management resolution.
Is there a second? We've got a motion to adopt the resolution for the changes to the amendment for Section 5-9 of the Cumberland County Emergency Management Ordinance. It's going to add in a provision in Section F that will speak to the notification for elected officials upon the declaration. It's been properly seconded. Is there any discussions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask for your vote. We'll do a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Unanimous.
And Mr. Chairman, it's pointed out before in these types of ordinances, it has to be adopted by all board members, whether present or not. And this will require a second reading. I'll bring it back to the next February meeting, and with that addition in the language.
Okay.
Thank you.
At this time, there's no further items of business. We'll go ahead and move to item 4, nominations. There are no nominations. Move to item 5, appointments. There are no appointments scheduled. We'll move to item 6, a closed session. We do not have a need for closed session, as I understand it. So hearing no other comments, unless board, you have any points of personal privilege, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn. Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Second. We've got a motion to adjourn. It's been properly seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Unanimous.
And we're adjourned. Thank you.